Welcome back. It is the man of the house, Bright Knight, and this is the Not Our Crib podcast. How has everybody been? Listen, you probably have been waiting for this episode. A few people have been asking me where the podcast has been, and I was actually gonna go on a hiatus. I was supposed to make a video about it, but that didn't happen because I was gonna make a video before I made a video about the hiatus, and then neither of those happened. So we're just going to go back to our regularly scheduled programming. So I apologize for that. I know some people were like side-eyeing me, Loida, about me making another episode, even though they should be making their podcast. But anyways, we are back. How has everybody been? Comment if you've been good, bad, better, okay. You know what I'm saying? Just let me know. I really do miss doing this. It wasn't even like I fell out of love with doing it. It was just, I kind of was just working. It wasn't even working hard. I was just kind of focusing on other things outside that's like right in front of me. And I'll get more on that later. But before we get too far ahead, make sure you guys like this video, comment, share, subscribe, and keep the ball rolling over here. But without further ado, let's get into the first topic. When I was like in middle school, right? This was before anime and gaming became the talk of the town. This was before this was socially acceptable to be a part of. And because of that, a lot of young men, such as myself, always wanted like a girlfriend who understood video games and anime. And that wasn't like easy to find at the time. Partially, and this is the problem that we're going to discuss today, partially is because a lot of closeted anime fans and gamers existed around you. They just didn't want to get laughed at. And that's the sad thing about societal norms and peer pressure. But at the time, we didn't know that. And I always wanted to have like an anime girlfriend, a nerdy girlfriend, because we would just get along so well. And now that I'm older, I've that's not necessarily what I'm shooting for in terms of what I want out of a partner, because from what I know now, anime and gaming girls are some freaks. Not all, but some are. And now a lot of y'all probably thinking, a lot of you gooners out there, what's wrong with that? And I've explained multiple times the problem with freaky people, but not only are they like freaks, but some of them just have poor behavior, skills, no decorum, no nothing. And not all, some, yet again. So if you feel offended, I'm probably talking about you. If you still feel offended and you think I'm not talking about you, I'm probably talking about you. But I didn't really realize I didn't like this as much as I used to anymore until I went to DreamCon. By the way, I can't wait to go to DreamCon. So if you guys are going to DreamCon, if you see me, say what's up. Say what's up. I'm saying that like I don't got like 5 people watching me right now. 5 people that I know personally. But aside from that, but what I saw down there was great. Okay, it was great. But one of the problems with the, I guess, no longer closeted gamer and anime girls is that they're freaks. And while online you can see on like Twitter and other social medias, you'll see OnlyFans creators wearing skimpy clothing just to attract more of a male audience. Imagine that, but like with no subscription behind it. That's just everyday wear when you go to these conventions. And not all, but some, again. And I don't have a problem with it, but then you kind of look at the logistics of it. I'm saying logistics like we're counting cargo or something over here. But when you look at the logistics of it, for me personally, it's like, who wants to deal with the hassle? Where it's like, now she's gonna put on that comic accurate Starfire costume, Blackfire costume, anything from Kill La Kill. What else? You're putting on all this crazy stuff, and I'm just like, that's nice. That is really nice. Just not nice for me anymore. I kind of grown out of it. That want has kind of changed in something more subtle, something more modest, and I'm a reserved person, and these freaks are hoes. Like I'm not with that anymore. I'm not. But that was just something that came across my head because I've noticed as I've matured, the type of what you want has changed. So that's how I wanted to kick it off, because you can see behind me, I got Yu Yu Hakusho right there. Shout out to my boy Joe. He made that. He hand drew that. Then I got Miles Morales right here. Yes, sir. He drew that as well. I also have Pinocchio right over my desk. And then I have my Yu-Gi-Oh playmat right there with Jaden, Yuki, and Yubel. I mentioned earlier about, working and doing the things that are like right in front of me. And one thing that I've noticed so far is that I'm in a very comfortable spot in life right now, and that's a good thing and also a bad thing. Hence why I was gone for a little bit. But my life feels a lot more simplified. It feels really simplified as of right now because I get to go to work, I enjoy what I do for work, and get to come home. Um, and most of the time when I'm at work, it's enjoyable. I'm not overly stressed as I was before. My colleagues are great to work with, and the workload is nothing strenuous. When I come home, I don't really have to do much. My friends are working hard, so when they're done working, they just come home and they get back to their lives. And I just get to either play on the game or just sit on my phone. And that's a lot of time not doing something that I should be doing. I should be working out more, I should be making more videos, I should be upping my editing skills. But I make it seem harder than it is because I put myself in another headspace on where can I be in the next 5 years. And that's a good place to be. But the biggest issue with that is that you can get caught up in that idea for so long, you forget to come down to reality. And that's just a problem that I'm plagued with, especially when I'm stuck in my phone for hours. And then I just got to realize you got to take care of the present and the future will fall through. Don't want to waste any more time than you absolutely have to. And the best thing you can do for yourself is keep going. You have to keep in the present. You have to keep checking in on yourself because there are so many distractions. This entire room is a distraction. Okay, this entire room. I got my sneaker turned to the side over there. If you're wondering why it's always like that, it's because it actually doesn't fit in the rack next to the other pair of sneakers that I have next to it. That's something I got to work out. You see this Buzz Lightyear, like, is it Buzz Lightyear? The space light cover. I've had that since, how old was I when I had it? Maybe 10, 11? I've had that for a while. I'm getting distracted in my own room right now. Oh, shout out to No Blam. Look at this, the Do the Work shirt. Do the work. Ironically, I got this recently, so do the work. I'm over here missing this. There we go. Do the work. And like I said, during the weekends, I don't really do much. I haven't streamed consistently. I do go out from time to time. I am trying to get more consistent. So if you guys can go ahead and watch the Bright Night BK channel, that is the channel where I'll be uploading my VODs from Twitch and other gaming videos. But the simple life is really becoming more attractive than what I want to do in the future, being a larger name, a bigger podcast, a more consistent and more well-known content creator. But the simple life has really kind of taken over because this is what I'm experiencing right now. Being able to just get up, go to work and have a nice day done, come home, hang out with a few friends here or there, catch up with older people. It's been cool, and I see why a lot of people tend to stay out the spotlight because I'm like, you don't want to be the biggest name on the planet? Like, what's going on? Honestly, I feel like I'd have made it to the suburbs, get the white picket fence, because it just, everything feels great. Like, even now, I got me a brand new car, and I'm happy for it, so thank the Lord for that. All praises to the Most High. But what I can say about getting this car, it wasn't that much of a hassle. But working with dealerships, if you haven't seen some of my older story times, I could go back and forth. Why do I keep saying if you haven't seen some of my older story times, we can talk about it. We can. And so how I acquired this new car, I was just kind of tired of my old car. It wasn't that my car broke down and I had to make the leap. This is what makes doing business when looking for something new like a car a lot easier to do without feeling like you're getting trapped into something. That is because you can always just go back to what you have and fix it up. But I wanted a new car because I wanted to upgrade into something else. But the problems with the old car was I kept losing air in one tire, and that's because I had a cracked rim that I had welded back to, or not welded, but it kind of got patched up a little bit. But it just kept losing air after a few hours, and I didn't know why. And I even caught a flat tire, and somehow I did not know I was on a flat tire. I don't get it. But I caught a flat tire, and so when I went to go get it fixed, the tire was so destroyed they couldn't plug it if they wanted to, and then the rim was already still cracked. So at that point I had to get the donut put on my car, and I wasn't having it. At this point I was done with the car, and I had an oil change coming up, and my car burns through oil a lot quicker than normal, so I was ready to just look for a new car. And so my mother's helping me out. She's showing me all these cars, asking me what I want it to look like, how many miles do I want on it, what's the size of the car. And I told her, I don't care. Just find me a different car. That's all I want, is to find me a different car, all-wheel drive, low mileage on it, and that I can just drive. I don't even care if it looks good. It just needs to work. And in my findings looking for like a Honda, I ended up coming across a Kelley Blue Book listing for a car that happened to be at a dealership in my area. So I click on it, and it's the car I always wanted. Before, I'm not gonna tell you what car I got. I don't know what type of people out here. I'm not gonna tell you what type of car I got, but it's the type of car I wanted before I even got my first car. And I'm just like, okay, mileage is great on the car, price is great on the car looks good, and it's clean. It was a previously leased car, so it only had about over a year worth of mileage put on the car. So that's great. I wish I could find a woman like that, but anyways, that's not the point. I ended up getting the information for the car, and I went to the bank. So this is how I'm gonna put you guys on game real quick. So instead of financing through the dealership, I decided to go through the bank, partially because with the bank I can get pre-approved, my local bank, so I can get pre-approved and see how much they're willing to give me. On top of that, you're not going to be hit with possibly terrible rates based on what the dealership's going to do. The dealership is going to go out and they're going to shop your information, which is also going to lower your credit score. And it's going to pick the best bank that they can scam you out of, especially if you don't know too much about dealing with the car business. And I'm not an expert, but I know for sure I'm not about to get played a second time. I didn't even get played the first time. I'm not going to get played at all. So I go to the bank and I got pre-approved for the price of the car. It was around $25,000. I was pre-approved for this new car. So I was like, perfect. All they needed was a bill of sale so that way they can write me the check and get the car. When I approached the dealership, I went there with my uncle. Shout out to you, my uncle. And when we walked in, he ran the game down because he's dealt with a lot of snake oil salesmen at dealerships before. And he was just giving me a rundown. Have your bottom line set, utilize the facts that you found on the car and the Kelley Blue Book. Get a good test drive, get a good feel of the car, look around the car. You can see if you can argue for more of a discount. And, sometimes you might not be able to get the car that day, which I was perfectly okay with. I was ready to just say no to the car regardless. That's what I was going to do. Test drive and be like, yeah, I'm not trying to buy it. But anyways, we get in the car, we test drive it, and as we're driving the car around, I'm loving how smooth it is. I'm not used to a lighter steering wheel. I'm used to having to crank the wheel because my car is a little bit older. I'm really getting used to the brakes on this car. We drive around the corner, my uncle starts noticing. He's like, there's a coffee stain in this car. There's a little coffee stain right here that hasn't been cleaned up. They'll have to make sure to clean that up. We're looking at the back of the car, checking the tires on it, checking the rotors, making sure this car is as good as it was advertised on the site. And that's exactly what you want to make sure to do, because you can bring that up in talks about purchasing the car and try to ask for a discount. After that, we go sit down with the dealer or with the salesman, and we're going over the car, and he brings over the paper. And while the car was listed at around $23,000, he comes in and the price is at $28,000. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, He's trying to get me to buy this package that basically flushes out my car system, details it, all like the whole nine, basically giving it a car birthday is what he called it. And I asked him if this thing was optional. And he said, yeah, it's optional. And I told him, I don't want it. So he went back, came back with a new price. The car was around $25,600 something, or around $26,000. And I look at it and I'm like, just going through and I'm like, all right, see if we can get a lower price, get a little bit of a discount. He's like, you want a discount? All right, cool. He goes and gets a discount, as a little discount. Now it's around like $25,000. Then I start to argue it down a little bit more because it's a used car. And then we look at the Kelley Blue Book on the average price of the car. If we lower the starting price with the documents and fees, we can argue it down to a little bit closer to what my bottom line is. So he's like, all right. He goes and looks for more wiggle room. He comes back. Now the car's around $24,000. Now I'm like, okay. You brought it down. I also bring up there was an event that you guys had about last year. There was a coupon you guys gave out about $500 off a purchase of a new car. And he was like, all right, cool. He went to go check for it. And he said they knew about the event, so they're going to honor it. And they threw a little bit more of a discount. And after that, I still wasn't satisfied. I still was not satisfied. I wanted to get it down a little bit lower than that. I was really trying to get it down to $22,000. So I told him I was going to walk. I walked, and I was okay with it. My uncle was checking in on me and making sure I felt like I was making the right decision. And I said, yeah, I'm not hurting for a new car. That's the best position you can be in. I wasn't hurting for a new car, and I was going to work with what I had. The general manager comes out, and he wants to get my business. He's trying to see what more he can do in order to get me this car. So I told him I was looking for a little bit more of a discount, looking for around like a $1,500 discount because that's what I was arguing it down for. At this point, we're at like a $700 discount. So he's like, all right, I can actually do that for you. You know, just take your time. You don't got to get it today. Just take your time and we'll see about it. So I was like, all right, cool. I go home and I'm just like, dang, I got it argued down to $1,200 and I was looking for a $1,500 discount. I got to get this car. Like, you're not getting a better deal with this. So now the next few days, we're trying to get the final check and the paperwork for the car and then the title and you know the car shenanigans we're doing. Eventually we get up there, and while the car, I handed over the check, it was around $23,000 in the total price. That's what the ending price was. I finally get ready to get the car. We show up so I can drive it off. My mother tells me to make sure you tell them to have the car filled with gas and detailed like they said they were going to do, because we noticed there was things that needed to get fixed. And they said, yeah, we got you. Go up there, I hop in the car, start it. There's not a lot of gas in this car. Like the tank's not full. The car's not detailed. Like it hasn't been cleaned. My mother made sure to clean down the car, and she still saw there was stuff that didn't even get removed. So she went in there and raised hell. They came out and apologized, took the car, put gas in it. I come back, and I'm just like, all right, time to hop in the car. I hop in the car, and we drive off. I was just ready to get up out of there. I'm sick and tired. And like the final salesman or whatever you want to call him, the guy who finalized the paperwork, was asking me, because I had such an attitude before I even hopped in the car, was why, did something happen to me before at another dealership? And I told them the story of when I test drove another car several months ago. They were trying to get me to buy it, even though I specifically asked just for a test drive. And while it was dumb for me to still sit down and try to talk to them more, they were trying to like slowly use their manipulative skills to try to ask me, how many miles you plan on putting on the car, what do you do for work, how much do you get paid a year? And I'm like, yo, he's trying to get me to lease the car now. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not here for none of that. I just wanted the test drive. And then while he had access to my credit, because that's what they do to try to see how much I can qualify for, they were trying to show what type of options they can give me. He went and applied for a loan under my knowledge about 3 times. 3 times he applied for that loan from a bank that I don't bank with. And I only found it out several weeks later when they said that they were denying me from getting this loan, which you didn't get it while I was there. So what did you think was going to happen? Huh? I was going to get the money, and then I was just going to pay the loan back and up my credit score after you tried to tank my credit. Not even really tank it, but trying to hurt my credit a little bit. So that's why I have beef with dealerships, and why it's going to be a minute before I buy me a brand new car after this one. But I'm loving the car that I have now. Everything else is good. They owe me a detailing, but I don't even want to do business with them. And I should drop the name, but all I know is know your business before you go out and get a car. But know your business of how you want to know their language, because their whole goal is to sell. So don't feel bad about asking for a discount. At the end of the day, they have to sell a car. Forget all the commission they can get. They need to sell. They got to hit their quotas or they're going to get fired. They're going to get replaced. And they did terrible business. Even the GM was a little new. So all I got to say is be careful out there. One thing I've noticed as getting older that is a contrast to when I was younger is being more selfish. I don't know if you guys notice, but when you're young, you're always told to share, which is good. So we're not growing up to become selfish or being selfish people. We have to learn to give and help out others. And that is something that we take into our adulthood. Once you become an adult, some people ain't grow up. So you learn to become selfish. The goal is to become a community and work together with people. But some people seem to forget that. Some people have their own motives, and some people have their own way of doing things. And they rather try to come up off of you rather than being a good friend. And I've met people who've only used me as like a pack mule to get them from place to place. A free Uber. Not even free. Depending on how I feel, or even taking advantage of me just being a free Uber just because you needed to get somewhere. And then there's other friends who always try to pay me back even when they don't got it. Shout out to my homie Dario for that one. he always try to pay me back no matter what. I always gotta tell him nah, because you need this. Like I'm providing a service to you because you actually are in need of something. You're in dire need of something. So I don't even care if you ever even pay me back. But some people do it for leisure and they try to get one over you. And I've had to cut some people off or even close that door for any of them. And it's a good thing that that's happened. But part of the issue with people growing up and not being so giving and causing others to be selfish is that they haven't really valued much or valued them or anybody or even themselves sometimes. That's why you're always helping the person who can't seem to do right, can't seem to get it together, can't seem to be competent, and just lazy. And it just affects people as a whole. Like, it's not just a me thing, it's a community thing now. And so that community becomes more divided because you have less trustworthy people. And the thing is, it shouldn't be that way. That's what it shouldn't be that way. But unfortunately, it is. But the other good thing about selfishness is that you do have to put yourself first in order to get to where you want to get. Don't be held back by being the only one to show up to a party out of your friend group. Don't get held back by being the only one to succeed. People are going to succeed on their own time. And even for me, when it comes to my friend group, I done told them millions of times, we need to get on making this content, man. You see where these people who've hung out with their friends all this time gotten, and they had excuses. It was only till when I started streaming, it was only till when I started making YouTube videos that we started to see more of that. And once they see it, they become inspired and they want to go, damn, how do I do this? How do I do that? Now they're asking me, and I'm like, hey, I'm open to helping you out. So I'm not going to be stingy about it. But even in our other lives outside of doing our hobbies, when we actually do have to go to work, we do have to look out for ourselves as well sometimes. And so a key experience that recently came across for me and why I made this topic was because I currently work at a college. And since I'm an employee there, I get to go back to school for free. I've said I would never go back to school. I done already graduated. I didn't get to go to the 4-year, but it was good that I didn't because I actually found more life experience and more ways and more ways to other rooms and keys to other doors than if I would have stayed in school. And with the options that are available at the college that I'm working at, I figured, why not take up a new avenue? Why not try something a little different and add to like my resume? Because I've always wanted to get smarter. And now that I'm always in a college and my office is in the math department, why not take this opportunity to get free skills in math, upgrade my math, be able to do PEMDAS, because some people forget how PEMDAS work. Learning things that even though some things don't actually apply to real life, math is a key factor in the type of work that I do at this college. Everybody has to take math, no matter what. And with the option of being able to take classes at a college while working there, there's a conflict, not necessarily conflict of interest, but it's conflict of what I have to do for work and what I want to do after. I can't be doing my job forever because there is a cap to what I could be earning. And from what I've learned in the school on what degrees get you where and the skills, because these are not just degrees that are just can't be used anywhere or they're used in a certain part. These are skilled trades that we have available. With the type of work they could be doing, the benefits to society, and the money that they could be making, I'm showing people how to get more money than me. and I'm sorry, but I can't just let that slide. I at least have to try something. And so I've seen how supervisors reacted to me wanting to go back. And while it's a good thing at first, the worry is they don't want it to take over work. Or once I complete class and I get another degree in something, I could just up and leave. You know what I mean? I could just go and move into a different field because of that. And they have every right to be concerned about it. It's, their business. They're working in a certain field. They're more established than where they're at. I'm still trying to establish myself. And you don't want that to stop you because you'll be bending over backwards for other people just for the sake of their happiness over yours. And this is where selfishness is good, to where you got to put yourself above them, because while they're a more comfortable spot, you need to be in a more comfortable spot for yourself and build your time and legacy, because you are young. If you're not young, or if you're older, you still have time. And I definitely advocate for that. So that is the best thing I can say about selfishness, is that there's a time and a place for it when it comes to bettering yourself. As long as it's not the expense or detriment to other people, I highly recommend you pursue that. Speaking of the pursuit and looking for something, I've had the pleasure to show up to a recent show that my cousins and friends were performing at, and upon just taking a look at what we had to offer in my city of Rochester, clothing and music is something that's not necessarily in the underground, but it feels like it's in the underground. It might actually be in the underground, and I'm just talking. But I say that because having those small and more intimate events where you get to see local artists, local brand clothing brands, local models, you really see how what the city is promoting and what most people know about the city and what people don't know has divided what the city could be as a whole. And since I'm in upstate New York, I'm not in New York City, where you can go to New York City and you'll see the art, you'll see the architecture, you'll see the expression, you'll see the music, you'll see the science and technology, you'll see the math, you'll see the literature, you'll see that everywhere. In my city, we don't necessarily see that as much. You definitely will see the art museums, you definitely will see the history, you definitely will see the production companies, but then you're not seeing as much of local art. Now, we do have flea markets, we do have conventions here for those things, but how often do we know that this is around? I don't doubt that in New York City, everybody knows where everything is. Everybody is very aware of it because the city is so large, it's densely populated. You see different people every day. But more often than not, I wear something like Do the Work, or I often wear other things like Made by Mav, or Reyes Collective, or Montego Boys, or Heaven on Earth. People are like, yo, where'd you get that from? I'm like, I gotta put you on to my boys. They are all from here. They're all from the city. This is the type of clothing that they make. You gotta show up, you gotta pop up, and it's like getting the word out there and being a part of the underground is cool at first, but it like when you got the business, you wishing you the big name out there, you wishing you got the clout behind it, because everybody's gonna be flocking to you. Until then, you're just kind of trying to get yourself out there, and it's a lot harder to do it when there's not a specific outlet to get there. And that's the main thing that I want me and them to work on, is how do we make this a normal outlet? How do we get our own art district where it's freedom of expression in clothing, not just a museum, more of like where we can walk down brick walled buildings full of bricks. When you're walking down alleys and it's graffiti spray painted everywhere, you got clothing stores that are always open, that can maintain themselves, because it is hard being a small business owner. What type of culture are we trying to push out there? I know we say certain things like there's not that big of a nightlife in the city, and partially it's because you don't know too much, or the type of nightlife you're looking for is not going to be the one you see like on TV, or like when you go to Florida or when you go to these other states. Because there are a lot of different clubs, there are a lot of different bars, billards that I've never been to, and I peek in there and I'm like, whoa, it's jumping in here. It's jumping in here. And it's being more exposed to what you have in your city, because you can sit here and say your city's not this all day long, but it's all about going out and exposing yourself to those things, kind of getting connected, kind of being able to be in those rooms together, and even creating things that you wish your city had. It's all about congregating together. And with the clothing, I really want the clothing in Rochester to go and expand. Like, that's why we got to Do the Work. Initially this was on my bed, but I figured I'd put it up here, and I'll honestly keep it up here for every other video as long as I can, because that's the whole point. Do the work. With that being said, yes, I've been rambling on for a little bit. I wanted to get back into making the video yet again, like I said the last time, but be sure to like this video, guys. I really do appreciate it if you made it this far into the video. Again, you don't got to take these videos all in one sitting. Take your time. Do it. Listen to it when you're doing the dishes. You know what I mean? Listen to it when you're on your way to work. We've got a lot going on here, and I got a lot more to catch up on. I know next time when I make another video, I'm going to try to add some more reactions and correlations. I'm going to try to add some reactions to the videos a little bit, so we can find more topics to discuss and get more of a genuine feel of what I'm into and what people are into as well, or what the hell people are doing, because the world is going crazy right now, man. Like, tariffs is being thrown left and right and rescinded. What else is going on? Apparently CIA declassified that aliens turned Soviet soldiers to stone. They're distracting us from something, obviously. I'm not suicidal, so leaving that out there. I don't even know if I can say that on YouTube. I'm not here to harm myself. Uh, so with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, this is Bright Knight signing out for the one time. Peace.